You're listening to She's the Business podcast.
Why did you start your business? Was it out of necessity or was it to follow a dream? I think most online entrepreneurs are probably in the category of following a dream, right? Something that we always thought that we wanted to do, run our own business, and there just comes that day where you take a chance and you decide now's the time you're going to do it. Well, not everybody is quite so lucky to be able to make that choice. And today's special guest is sharing her story of how she overcame cancer. And that was really the reason why she started her business. But she overcame cancer to build a business in just a matter of years to $500,000 a year. And it's almost purely automated. There's her and there's one other person in her team. So how on earth did she do this while battling cancer, literally with no money? Her story is absolutely awe-inspiring. It's incredible. And I would love you to have a listen to it and really think, what is possible? What could be possible for you? What's possible for all of us? If she's been able to do such an amazing feat, really, with so many things that could have been holding her back, that could have been massive barriers that many of us probably would have struggled immensely to get by. But this just goes to show you, if you've got determination, if you've got the vision and you've got the willpower to do it, what actually could be possible. And today's story is nothing short of incredible. So please stick around. You'll want to hear this one today.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration.
My very special guest, who I'm sure you cannot wait to meet, is the gorgeous Mim Jenkinson. She's an online business coach and mentor with extensive experience in creating and marketing digital products, courses, memberships, printables, and more. So she's really well known in the planner community because she's a planning obsessed mother of 2, and she's created this multiple 6-figure a year business that easily fits in around her family life, which is so important to her. Mim is known for her brand Love from Mim. She's right into sticker making. She's done all sorts of things. She's had a top-rated Etsy store. She now teaches other people how to make and sell stickers on Etsy, create their own businesses, amongst other things. And she also mentors and coaches other online business owners. And she's taught and mentored over 3,000 people to have success with their creative pursuits and digital product businesses. So she's an absolute powerhouse in the online world. So many things that she's done right. And there's just so much in this interview that I had with her. I admire her incredibly. She is one of the people in one of my business coaching groups that I've really enjoyed getting to know over the last year. Now, I do have to apologize before we play the interview because I happened to do this while I had the flu, and yes, you can probably still hear that it's holding on to me with its little claws. It won't quite go away. I'm into the end of week 2 now, and I wish it would just get over it and go away. But when I recorded this with Mim, I was a little bit blocked up and stuffy. My voice doesn't sound the best. I apologize for that in advance, but you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to her. So please sit back and enjoy. Ignore my horrible sounding voice, and by next week, it will all be gone. So I hope you have a great one. Enjoy.
And here we are with the lovely Mim. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mim. This is a real pleasure, I'd have to say. And I'm so glad to be able to bring you onto the podcast and have a chat with me about your story and your journey and how you got started. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you. I love talking to you, Jess, and I'm really excited to see where our conversation is going to go today.
Yeah, me too. And now I just have to let the listeners know, apologies for my voice. It doesn't sound too fantastic today because I'm recovering from the flu and it's still got its little hooks in me. So I sound a little bit croakier and maybe a bit more nasal than usual. Apologies.
We're going to go with sexy and husky.
Oh, yes, the sexy husky voice. But that's just to let you know why I sound a bit odd.
Yeah, if you hear us coughing and spluttering, we're going to try and limit that, but we're both recovering from the flu. My sexy voice is gone, but I can certainly enjoy yours.
Awesome. Now, would you like to start off give us a quick download as to who you are and what you do now in your business? And then we're going to dive all the way back to the beginning and jump into how you even got started.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you. So I do a few things. I've got two main sides, to my business. So on one side, I'm a digital course creator and content creator and digital products, all about digital products. And we can dive into exactly what I sell there because it's a very super specific niche. And then on the other side, I also am an online business coach and mentor too, particularly focusing on business owners, course creators, coaches who want to evergreen their business and create an evergreen automated way to be able to earn revenue while they're doing other things, or maybe just as their sole income stream. So it's a combination of both of those. I'm also an author, an app creator, a blogger, an Etsy seller, a podcaster, lots and lots of other things too. You know just how multi-passionate I am about doing all the things. I'm sure we'll dive into a few of those different things today, but that kind of sums me up in a nutshell.
Yeah, amazing. A lady of many talents and just with boundless energy, I think, to do all of it as well. You inspire me so much every day. So yeah, let's dive into how you got started because you've got an amazing story. I really can't wait to share it with our listeners.
Thank you. Well, it's an unusual story. We were talking just before Jess hit record about how some people kind of just stumble into entrepreneurship, but for me it was very intentional. However, the path wasn't quite as I expected to be. So I started in the online space back in 2013 as a blogger. I had a new baby and decided that mummy blogging was going to be the world for me. And I really enjoyed that for a few years, but mainly rather than sharing the kids, I didn't really share much about them. It was more about my life as a mum and the products and services that I loved and used and recommended and those things, and really enjoyed that. So that's how I got my grounding in the online space and social media and websites and all of those things. And then I still was working though in a consulting role and went back to the UK for a bit where I'm from originally, as you can probably tell, but I'm in Australia now, as you know. Went back to the UK, came back to Australia with another new baby. So 2 kids, a 6-month-old, a 2-year-old. We settled in Newcastle. We decided that this was going to be where we would establish ourselves. I got myself a great new consulting job and I was working part-time, literally the whole of our lives ahead of us, and it was really exciting. We were looking for our forever home, but then 2 or 3 weeks into this new job, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which came out of nowhere. And I will say everything is all very good now. Everything's fine. In fact, I've recently been discharged, which is great. So everything is going super well. But found myself in a position where I couldn't actually work anymore. The particular cancer I had was very rare and aggressive, and the particular chemo that I had to have and radiation was extremely aggressive too. Not that any chemo isn't particularly, but there was no possible way of showing up and turning up to work at the time. So I found myself at home. My husband was at home too because he had to look after the kids because I couldn't really do very much, honestly, right in the beginning. So we had no income. Like we had so much money saved that we'd had built up over the years as like our nest egg for a deposit for this forever home that we had in our minds, and it like literally left the bank, it felt like, in days, but certainly over a few months we ended up with nothing. So I was in a position where I had my blog already and I was already earning a little bit of money from doing sponsorships with some brands, and decided that would be the way that I would try and like really build upon it, but also had already kind of dabbled a little bit with having an online course. I don't know about you, but it was one that I labored over for months and months and months, completing it all, perfecting it all. And then when it came to launching it, it was such like a half-assed job of, does anyone want to buy this? Okay, no problem.
And what was this course about? What was it teaching people to do?
It's all about essentially using a planner, for beginners mainly, who are like, keep buying these planners, and 6 months in, I'm realizing I haven't used it. Like, I get past the first couple of weeks and the fun ends, and then I'm realizing I'm not remembering to use it. Maybe it's not the planner for me. How do I stay organized? Why am I wasting so much money on these gorgeous planners and they're not working for me? Like, just answering all of those questions. And it's a course that I still sell now. In fact, I've sold thousands of this course now. It makes me laugh a little bit that nothing is ever wasted. You always use the things that you think maybe didn't work out at the time. But it led me to this path of just wanting to build a business working for myself. And also, when you're faced with this life-death situation, lots of things suddenly come into perspective. And I started to realize, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, but I certainly want to make sure that the rest of my life counts. And what do I really enjoy doing? And I love planning. I love stationery. I love stickers. I love using stickers in my planner. While I was off work, going through treatment, I decided to get myself a cutting machine and start making my own stickers for my planner to give me a focus of something to do. So this is where my digital course really, creation business really took off, because first of all, I was making my own stickers. Then I started an Etsy shop selling them to others. And then soon after that, I started getting the questions of, how are you making them? Can you teach me to make them too? And I put together a course to teach others how to do it. And the next question was, how are you selling them? So again, I put together a course to teach people how to sell them. And honestly, it just snowballed from there. That using that kind of promotion and social media experience that I already had, but starting from scratch with no audience, was able to build up a really great audience of people who wanted to buy my stickers, learn how to make them, learn how to sell them, and join me on this sticker making journey and managed to build a business from it. So it was an unusual start to how things got going, but one that has completely transformed my life, honestly. And that was 6 years ago. So looking back now from where I was there to where I am now, it still blows my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you started with nothing. You were going through chemo and you created these courses. How on earth were you having any energy at all to put into doing social media, like going online, talking about it, actually getting it out there? Because while creating the course takes effort, of course, you know that it's all about getting people to actually buy it. So how did you manage to do that? What were the things that you did do?
So many things, very scrappy, so much scrappiness at the time. And I had to really trust and lean into my energy levels and what my body and my brain was telling me to. There were some days where I was flat out, even not just physically, but emotionally, just unable to lift my head from the pillow and work. It wasn't the case of, I've got 6 months off, let's do a bunch of fun stuff in a business. Very, very hard in the beginning. At the same time, it gave me, as well as my kids and my family, it gave me a focus to get up, because being a planner and a planful person, I enjoy routine a lot. And I found that being out of work and having the appointments that I needed to go to, they disrupted my regular routine, and I felt that I needed to create one. So having this business and coming from decades in corporate, I just wanted to get up and sit at my desk at 8 o'clock and get started on something, even if I was a little bit of a zombie sometimes. Just in the early stages of adjusting to chemo, just having something to go to, having a to-do list, being able to set some goals for myself. Like, one of the goals I set for myself eventually was, when things started to work and I was making sales, how can I make this work so much so I don't have to return to working for someone else? And that quickly became the goal that I set myself. So when my treatment finishes, and it was 8 months altogether, I gave myself a goal of 3 more months. If I could then in that 3 months make the same money as I was making in my part-time corporate job, then I wouldn't have to go back to it. And it was a great job, don't get me wrong. I just always wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
And I managed to make that happen. And literally it was just that, setting that goal, having that long-term vision, but then reverse engineering it and breaking it down into the chunks of, okay, if this is what I'm doing now and these are the results I'm getting and this is what I want, how can I get the steps to be able to get to the goal that I want to get to? But some days, it was just, I'm in bed and doing nothing today. leaning into however I felt that day, which we still do now, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, you can't do everything and be everywhere, even when you are fit and healthy. So, what was it that you found worked the best for you in terms of finding your audience, for your course and actually being able to sell it?
Yeah, well, when I started, so I already had an audience on social media and an email list. So it had been, as a blogger, it had been drilled into me very early on from the people that I followed, that having an email list was super important. However, everyone on my email list and following me on socials had no interest whatsoever in using or making stickers. So when it came to the courses that I was selling, it really was starting from scratch. However, I already knew that I needed to start to build up that following and that email list, particularly even when I was selling on Etsy, where you don't get you're not able to use the email addresses of the people who buy from you. I can't then just create a list with those. So I knew I had to find ways to get people on my list. So coming up with a varying amount, all of the different things I tested of free opt-ins, giving out free products, checklists, downloads, PDFs, all of the ways to get people on my list. Maybe it was a discount. And then when it came to actually selling my courses, even when I didn't have too many people on the list, quickly got into the realization that what I did last time with creating my first course, spending months and months on it, I think I did everything quote unquote wrong that you could do when you sell a course, like taking too long, perfecting it too much, not getting any feedback from potential people who might buy it before I put it together, not getting too much feedback along the way, then at the end getting too much feedback and that stopping me and paralyzing me from really going out and selling it. But then second time around with my sticker making and selling courses, I flipped the approach altogether. So I kind of mapped out what I thought should be in the course. I got a lot of feedback from the questions that people were asking me, who really were the instigator for me putting the courses together. So finding out exactly what they wanted. And then with both of them, I pre-sold them before I actually went away and did any of the work. So the typical way of being able to pre-sell to say, I'm thinking about putting this course together. This is what you seem to be asking for. This is what I think you also need. This is how much it will be, this is how long it will take you to get through it, and this will be the end result, so you'll be able to go ahead and make stickers. Like, how do you feel about that? Is that something you're interested in? If it is, join me as a founding member now. You'll only pay this price. I think it was 39 Australian dollars at the time, and the course is now 247 US, so quite still lower ticket, but very different to what it was. And people jumped on board, and that just gave me the validation that people want this. They're excited. They're as excited as I am, and it also helped me pay some of those bills and fund then the time and effort I put into actually making the course bigger and better and seeing it come to life. And pretty much now, whenever I create anything new, I do things in exactly the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I love that. I love, being able to get people on board before you've actually put all the energy into creating it, because like you say, it validates that this is the right thing. This is what they want. And it's so much easier to do, I think, once you've already had your first course or offer, like you've done one, and then you go, okay, before I do that again, I'm going to actually just come up with the concept and pitch that and sell it. Well, that was certainly the way for me as well. I think I kind of needed to almost validate that this was a thing I could do. And then the next time I was like, okay, I'm all good. I've got that behind me. I can definitely sell it before I make it, which is something then some of my clients, thank goodness, they have been really good at taking my, trusting in me, I'll say, because I've helped them to monetize their courses before they've made them. And it's just such, like you're saying, like that's such a smart way of doing it, because you're able to go out to them and say, well, this is what it's going to be. This is what it looks like based on your feedback. Are you keen? And they were. So incredible, amazing.
So many ways. I mean, first of all, it gave me the income that I needed to be able to, one, invest in making the course, but also pay the bills, because we literally had nothing. So we needed to get money in the door, and it's the best way to be able to do so as a digital content creator, I think. But secondly, too, if they'd all come back to say, no, I'm not interested, either one, I wouldn't go ahead and make it, or two, I'd look really hard at the messaging that I'd been using, because I wasn't obviously conveying it in a good enough way for them to see that it was valuable. But the thing is, even now, 6 years on now, and I have a really good sized audience now, I've got thousands of students, I've got a huge email list. I still sometimes go out to them now to say, based on what you've been asking for, or just I feel like doing this for you. Are you interested? I still do the same thing, exactly the same process of pre-selling. And I can't tell you the amount of times it's gone out to crickets or one person has purchased. And I just don't do it anymore. And at the beginning, I was like, a bit devastated. They were not interested, and I'll still dive into, have I conveyed the messaging properly? But now I just let it go. Okay, no one purchased. Well, that's a clear enough signal to me to not go ahead and do this. Let's move on to the next thing, or let's just go back to what is working instead. So just releasing that whole attachment to, I'm a failure, no one purchased, if I haven't put months into doing something, if all I've literally done is thought of an idea for a result for them, I put together a loose content plan and asked if they're interested. If they say no, no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. You haven't wasted hardly any time. You just a little bit of effort in asking the questions. So that's so good. Yeah, amazing. Now, you did mention, I'm very keen to get into this, putting it all on automation. So tell me about how you automate your courses, and what would you say to somebody who's thinking about automating? What would be, I'm sorry, I'm asking too many questions at once. But like, what would be an ideal type of thing to put on automation versus something that may not be as good for automation?
Yeah, for me personally, I think that most things can be automated. This, if not the whole process, at least the selling of it can be automated in many ways. But I'll break it down a little bit, because it's very simple, but it isn't always. People sometimes think that it doesn't require any effort and energy after it's automated, and that is far from the truth. So most of my business, 99% of my business is automated. There's very little that I have to show up live for myself. So my main business is selling courses, and I have one main course out of a few that I have, because I've been doing this for a while. So I've collected some products over the years, but the one main one is sold via an evergreen webinar. So all I literally have to do is think about every day or every week or every month, how can I get more leads into that webinar? Because the offer already converts. I knew that people were already purchasing it and were really happy with it. I had lots of testimonials. Although you don't need these things to be able to put an evergreen funnel together. But of course, if you are going to be sending traffic to an evergreen funnel, ideally you want to know that it's going to convert before you go too hard with it. So I had the offer that was converting. I put together an evergreen webinar, which really helps people feel confident enough by the end of that class that they know it's for them, and they're very happy and excited to get started, so that they do join straight away. So they can get started straight away. Literally the only thing I need to do is add them to a student self-managed Facebook group. Otherwise, the whole process of them coming into the webinar, watching the webinar, being followed up for months and months actually with emails, because of the different sequences they go into, what happens when they go into the Facebook group, and then where to go if they need any support along the way. It's all self-study, so it makes my life really simple. So now all I have to do, whenever I am promoting, is think about the 3 ways to get people into that webinar. So it's either the organic ways that I get people in, which are many ways, or working with partners. So it could be partners on, maybe doing the occasional live webinar. I don't do that very often. Sometimes they're just sending their amazing audience to my evergreen funnel, or otherwise it's paid advertising. So I do Facebook advertising. I'll sometimes do sponsorship of podcasts or sponsorship of summits or events. And I'm always looking for different ways to increase those 3 different ways of getting traffic in. But, from my blogging days, I already had, although it wasn't really relevant stuff, but I already had a really established blog. So I could go into there and see, which posts are getting a lot of traffic already organically. Could any of those potentially have the right people for my evergreen funnel? Where can I add pop-ups and embedded forms, and where can I add reminders for people to get into the funnel? What can I do with my organic social posts? Like, literally just how can I get more leads is the only question that I have to answer.
Yeah, amazing. And you mentioned sponsoring podcasts and events. So other people's podcasts and events, you mean you're reaching out to them, and that's amazing. So how does that work, and how do you select which ones you're collaborating with?
It's really who else has an audience that is the kind of audience that I want. So it could be someone, I have arrangements with loads of different people now. So partners who have almost exactly the same audience to me, but we're doing something very different. So maybe they're teaching people how to make planners and I'm teaching people how to make stickers, or maybe they're teaching people how to start a craft business, and it could be a variety of crafts, but there's enough people in there who would be interested in sticker making or sticker selling too. Or maybe it's like I've worked with a few people, so I've sponsored online summits in the planning space. I've been a summit speaker in the crafting and side hustle space. That's got me lots of leads too. I've sponsored podcast episode, really just who has the audience that I want. And it doesn't have to be other business owners, other bloggers, or other course creators. So I've put money into advertising for digital magazines. I'll probably be advertising on some radio shows in the next 6 months of this year. Just always just the same question every day: where can I get leads? Which just makes life so simple.
It does, yeah.
Because it's limitless. It's literally limitless, as well as thousands and billions of people all over the world who might be interested in what I'm doing. Where are they? You know, when we hear copywriters say, like, where are your people hanging out? Like, it literally is that. Where are they? Where can I get in front of them? Testing new things. Really happy to test new places and work with people by sponsoring and paying a fee to them in advance, because if I'm paying for Facebook ads, I may as well, you know, pay that fee to another business owner or another blogger potentially too. Or an affiliate arrangement is where they can earn way more most of the time, because rather than a one-off fee, they're going to earn 40% on everything that they sell from me. So yeah, I just give people lots of options and they can pick and choose what works best for them.
Yeah, I think that's such a good takeaway point there, is to be thinking there's always other ways, you know, because I feel like a lot of the time we kind of get stuck in a groove of doing the same thing, like posting on our social media accounts, and we're in the same Facebook groups or wherever it is. It's like, guys, you're in the same pond, like you're still there. The same people are in there. There might be a few new ones filtering in, but if you're not doing anything new to get out in front of new people, then how are you expecting your audience to grow? How are you expecting new people to come across you? Because you're not actually doing anything to get in front of anyone new unless you are exploring all these other avenues. And my favorite one, using other people's existing audiences. That's beautiful.
It's a win-win. So I've got some evergreen partners now who I'm an evergreen partner for them too. So I promote their courses and their evergreen funnels to my audience. And so literally every single day we're both getting conversions for each other, to the point where we're not just inviting each other's, like our audience, to their live webinar, but within my evergreen courses and within my evergreen email sequences, I'm inviting people to go and follow them and check them out and sign up for their evergreen webinar or whatever it is, or their freebie then too. And likewise, they're doing it for me. So it just works so well to be able to, and you know, it took a little while to build those relationships for sure, but and then it very quickly got to the point where we're just supporting each other's businesses, and we're not competing. You know, there's no, just because somebody is spending with them doesn't mean they're not going to spend with me later. And if I have, I mean, for example, it's a way that I offset a lot of my Facebook ad spend too, because sometimes I'll get people in, we all know this, you know, we'll spend money on Facebook ads and people won't necessarily want to buy our things, and we're not going to convince people who are not right to buy our products. But just because they're not buying from us, they might still want to be in the ecosystem and on the email list, and perhaps we can present somebody else's offer to them that actually is the perfect fit for them. So it's all a long-term game for sure, but it's just endless. The possibilities of getting new leads for evergreen funnels in my mind is completely limitless. Like, I love brainstorming with people how they can apply it for their businesses too, because I think that we are stuck in those ways of, well, I'll do a social media post or I'll do an Instagram live. I very rarely do anything organic on social media. I don't have the inclination to. Sometimes I'll go through a burst of, I'll just do a few reels because it's super fun, but then I'll have 3 months of not doing anything at all. I find that also places like social media, they're not my happy place when it comes to my own mental health. I'd much rather give them my money than my mental health and pay for ads anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think that that's so smart as well, because you're just showing that you actually don't need it. And so I guess just to really drive that point home of what you can achieve even without doing all of this hustle on social media, creating all this content, you know, like everyone's in the stories that are gone in a day, like they're literally there for 24 hours and then gone. And we're spending so much time and energy doing it. But can you share with us your this year, what you've managed to achieve in terms of your business revenue, and just to give that amazing contrast of, I guess, where you started with nothing and from nothing to what you've been able to achieve now, and maybe, that point in the journey when it really changed?
I mean, my business financially has changed considerably in the past 6 years. When I started, like I say, it was mainly sponsorships, and the income I was earning from there, I mean, at one point got to 6 figures for sure. And I think that if I'd just continued with that income stream alone, it would have probably grown even more. But I don't ever want to rely on only one income stream. So even the evergreen products that I have, like I say, it's still not just my products, but other people's too. And I affiliate for software and all sorts of things. So when I think about 3 years ago, when I reached around the 100K mark with this business, with this kind of course making, digital product creation, with this business, like that was just unbelievable to me that I could get to that point within just a couple of years. And then last year I'm over tripled that, and then this year I actually don't know what my final figure is yet, because I've just ran an online event and there's so much to reconcile that I don't know what it is, but I know it's way over 500k, and it completely blows my mind that all of the things I'm doing, and I say this with quotes, the little amount of time I'm spending on the business compared to what I was a few years ago, blows my mind that I've been able to create this. But at the same time, it's been very intentional too. Like, I've intentionally made as much of my business as I can, as automated and as evergreen as I can. Because of going through an experience such as cancer and chemo, and really getting very, very aware of what my limits are, and for example, social media isn't something I want to do, necessarily all the time. Like, just knowing how I wanted to create a business that matched my energy. And I also want to create a business where if I want to step away from it for a week or a year, like, I can if I want to. And I don't have a big team. There's only me and a VA who works part-time, like a few hours a week with me. And I never wanted a business that felt uncontrollable too. I don't think it's going to end up being exactly as it is now, but I do feel very lucky that I've had this opportunity to really get clear on what I want, and again, reverse engineer the path to the business that I wanted from where I was to where I am now.
Yeah. Wow. I just need to take a moment to say congratulations. That's amazing. 500k, well, and more, because we haven't finished the year yet. We've still got another week to go, and you haven't even reconciled all of the earnings from your event.
Imagine that being a problem, that there's too many things to reconcile.
Oh, there's so much there. I just don't have time to count it all.
Well, as you know, Jess, I've just ran an online summit. So there are my business is very much focused on high volume, low ticket. So there's lots of things to recognize, but we're not talking about thousands for each transaction.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it works for me and it works for my audience. And I've always enjoyed that high energy, high volume approach to things. And I think there's a lot of talk in our industry of charge what you're worth, and you need an Accenture model that has a really high ticket product at the top, or you need to give more of yourself and charge more. And I've always felt really uneasy about that, but sometimes been led to do things that have just felt heavy to me. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't charge high ticket in the future. And I do charge higher rates when I'm working one-on-one with clients. So I also coach in a group as well for businesses who want to put their products evergreen too. So I definitely charge more for those kinds of things, but I know. I think you can create a business that's related to products and people and the things that work for you and your energy. And for me, I just want it to be simple as possible, and help as many people as possible at the same time. And I know that for my audience, and the prices that I charge are super accessible for them, and it means that I can really help as many people as want the help.
Yeah, that's incredible. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have any final takeaway point or insight or inspiration that you'd love to share with someone who's been listening that they could, I guess, round all this off with?
I could talk all day about an evergreen business.
I could talk to you forever.
As you know, I love it so much. And I think that the main thing would be, is just rounding off that point about evergreen doesn't mean doing nothing. Running an evergreen business, automating everything, it definitely takes work up front, for sure, but it's work that pays off potentially for years and years to come. Obviously, there's still some times when I'll, every single week I look at my reports and see where in my evergreen funnel does anything need adjusting. Has there been a drop off in the number of conversions? Has there been a drop off in attendees, or who's opening the emails? Like, I still look at all of those things weekly, but knowing that all I have to focus on is where are the leads coming from does make things very simple for me. That said, you're still going to have to put time, energy, effort, and work into finding those leads. I think that there's a real misconception where people can put things on automation and flick that switch and be, yay, I'm automated now, yay, I'm evergreen, and then wonder why the sales aren't coming in. Because if you're not going to do the work to market the webinar or whatever funnel it is, or find new leads, of course, they're not just going to miraculously find you. And even though I get a lot of people coming in organically now from SEO and different other funnels that come through, I'm still always looking for new ways that I can get more leads in, because the world changes, people change, income streams can be cut off, as we know, anytime. So whilst it isn't a frantic approach to finding more leads, just still having that open mind to where might my people be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed our chat today, and you've shared so many insights and so much of value. I'm going to go back and re-listen to this again myself with my notepad in hand. So thank you, Mim. This has been a real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Jess. And if anyone has any questions at all about evergreening, they can reach out to me anytime at Love from Mim on Instagram.
Awesome. And I'll link that up in the show notes. So yeah, thank you. Love from Mim, and your website as well. I'll pop that in.
Website is mimjenkinson.com.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you, Mim. And I will see you very soon.
Do you get your knickers in a knot every time it comes to pricing your services? Maybe you know that you're undercharging. You know that you could be charging more, and you really feel like what you're offering has so much more value, but you're constrained by a competitive market, or you're just not sure that if you raise your rates, maybe you're scared that somebody won't buy and then you'll end up with no clients, and oh my God, what will happen then? Pricing has to be one of the hardest things that any business owner has to do. And it's because it's completely subjective, right? You can set your price at almost anything. And that's why most of us find ourselves pricing based on what other people are doing. But that means you end up in a place where you're competing on price. You're pricing yourself in a market against other people. And who wins in that situation? Well, guess who? The client, 100% of the time. So that's not what we want to be doing. You want to be setting your prices confidently, not undercutting yourself, and actually being paid properly for your services. So how do we do that? Well, there is a way that you can learn how to do pricing, how to get your expertise and knowledge priced in services that also mean you're not constantly marketing and selling. You want to be spending more of your time earning the money as opposed to trying really hard to bring it in and sell something to somebody who's not really that keen to buy it. Pricing is a really important part of your marketing strategy, and it helps you to get the right clients. So yes, this is something that we definitely need to do and need to get it right. When we've got it right, wow, it feels so easy. Imagine being able to confidently tell people your price. Imagine having them just say yes straight away, no negotiation, no brainer, and it's actually what you want to be being paid. How much easier would your business feel then? Right? So the good news is that I'm running a live workshop as part of my Pricing with Poise online course. This is a mini course. We'll call it a mini course because really it's not a huge big course, like as opposed to my main program, Business Jam. That is a big strategic program. Pricing with Poise Masterclass is something that you can do in the space of a weekend. You know, you can really knuckle down, get it done, and get your pricing done. And for everybody who's enrolled in Pricing with Poise, this month I'm running a live workshop. So you're going to be able to join me online and bring all of your questions, bring the things that you're struggling with your pricing. How do you put this package together? How should you set your pricing? Maybe how do you price your different services so that you're getting people to buy the one that you really want them to buy, instead of just choosing the cheapest one or something that's based on price. We will cover all of that and more so that you leave it clear and confident about your pricing and profitable as well, because that's what we're here for. This is what business is all about. It's about you being profitable so that you can put that money back into whatever it is that you would love to invest in, donate to, or support with your life and your lifestyle. Head to jessicaosborne.com/pricing to find out all the information about Pricing with Poise. You can dive right in today, get a head start on the online content, go through the pricing strategy, worksheets that I've got for you, go through the short videos explaining how it works, start that work, and then join me for the live workshop on the 19th of July. It's going to be loads of fun. You'll be able to get live coaching, you'll be able to get your questions answered, and yes, there will be a replay and recording that will be available to you inside your program, Pricing with Poise, that you also have lifetime access to. So what's not to like about that? Head over to jessicaosborne.com/pricing right now. Get yourself enrolled and I'll see you online by the end of the month. Oh, and one more thing. I've just decided, because it's the start of a new financial year here in Australia, that I will go 50-50 with you on this workshop. So if you put in the code 50 into the checkout for Pricing with Poise, then you'll get 50% off the already reduced rate. So this is a very limited time. It's only happening until this live workshop. You can get the 50% off just for the next week, and then it's over. Then you can join Pricing with Poise at the normal price of $397 after that. But just for the next week, you'll be getting it for $97. That is 75% off. That's ridiculous. Crazy. Let's do this. I can't wait to see you there, and we'll do it. Okay.